I do congratulate you also, your institute. It was very much needed, and it is timely also very important that in Turkey we will develop a awareness what is Baltic and what is Nordic states. So outside of the NATO discussions. And until now, all the speakers have been indicating from their perspective what is going on and what is the situation in Europe and how Ankara Summit is going to be. First of all, Ankara Summit will be much more different than any other NATO summit since 1991. So this is crucial. This is important because NATO has to make decisions now, starting from the American nuclear umbrella to European countries, whether the American military will continue to protect the European security, or are the European countries going to develop their own capabilities? As the moment we see the discussions in Germany, particularly that there is a big deficit on trust. There is a transatlantic fracture. This transatlantic fracture is very important. Is there a mind shift? Is there really a threat from the Russian side, which is definitely perceived at the moment very strongly? And what is more important maybe here, how Turkey is also behaving between, on the one hand, Russia, on the other hand, European Union, and on the other hand, on NATO, because Turkey is member of NATO, but not member of the European Union. So the European Union security architecture, which is very much discussed, safe, starting from this, Turkey is definitely one of the countries which the European Union countries cannot neglect anymore. It is not the question of whether Turkey will become member of the European Union or not. It's another political debate. But there are 4 countries which shape the European security at all. This is the United States of America, this is Great Britain, this is Russia, and this is Turkey. And if you take all these 4 countries out, the European Union, at the moment, European Union countries are a normative power, economic power, but not a military power. So in this respect, maybe we should see how this transatlantic mindset shifting to directing the European security. I think, first of all, without Turkish participation, there will be no European security. So the debates about among the European intellectuals concerning Turkey, they try to neglect or get Turkey out of this European security discussions because of the voting system within the European Union. Some smaller countries sometimes have more, I would say, power than permanent fives of the United Nations. For example, a small country like Republic of Cyprus can prevent the grand strategic decision of the European Union whether Turkey is fully a member of the European security architecture or not. So there should be not unanimous decision, but rather more the majority voting system if Europeans are really concerned with the Russian threat. Otherwise, if Turkey is out of this European security architecture, imagine a couple of minutes. Turkey is not in the European security architecture because Turkey's responsibilities within NATO is different than the European security architecture, which is much more negatively oriented to the American hegemony or American unilateral position within the NATO. As the President Trump said, I'm the boss of NATO. He is the boss of NATO. This is true. In France, in Evian, he said this. And the question is here, how Russia and the United States of America are dealing with each other. And the Europeans have been neglected so far. I think we have, like in the Cold War years, NATO was represented by the United States of America. Warsaw Pact was represented by Soviet Union. They came together in Geneva. They talked about the disarmament and all the international treaties, and the European countries were not asked, they were just informed. If the European Union would be really a part of this new security structure and going to have a voice against Russia, then they have to take Turkey with them. My academic analysis is the more European Union is not taking Turkey into the European security architecture plans, it will not function for the European security at all, because they will be not able to do this. Britain, Turkey, and America, there are three countries. Two of them are nuclear powers, and Turkey is a modified conventional power, and we have been the only power among the European countries which have been fighting more than 13 times to Russia. We know how to fight against Russia from our history. Black Sea, Caucasia, Balkans. I mean, we are experienced countries, smaller countries of the European Union at the moment, given this advantage to them to define or to protect the grand strategic decisions of European Union would be a wrong decision. Donald Trump is the only one at the moment who understands the Turkish importance for the regional and for the global security. In the American grand strategy, Turkey's position is totally different than it was the case a couple of years ago. Whereas the European countries at the moment, because of this internal discussions, because of this different interest of certain countries, they mostly try to alienate Turkey. Any alienation of Turkey in the European security is neither in the interest of Europe or at all, or in Turkey. Who is going to win if Turkey is not in the European security architecture? Russia. Russia is the winner if Turkey is neglected. So